With Chainsman Chapter 197, the story has once again taken our expectations and flipped them completely on their heads, but in a really good way. After so much buildup for the long-awaited Death Devil, you go into this chapter thinking she's about to be this monster powerhouse, yet that's not quite what happens, at least not at first. When we open up the chapter, we have the fake Chainsaw Man staring down the Death Devil and her fellow classmate, and we continue to see the fake Chainsaw Man going on with his superhero routine, but now we know with certainty why this is the case. So after the fake Chainsaw Man lunges forward and he cuts the arm and the torso and the legs of the Death Devil, completely disemboweling her as she's left bleeding out on the ground, the student watching, he rightfully freaks out because in his eyes, he just saw a deranged Chainsaw Man kill the new transfer student right in front of him, talking about how easy it is, and that's where we get the potential twist. The fake Chainsaw Man calls himself an avatar justice, which if that immediately made you think about the Justice Devil, you're not alone because my mind went there too, but Fujimoto wisely does not confirm it for us right away. Instead, he gives us more information on the motives of the fake Chainsaw Man before he eventually does end up confirming that this fake Chainsaw Man and the Justice Devil, there is a connection. So the fake Chainsaw Man is out to stop the Nostradamus prophecy from coming true. And when the student asks, how can you be so certain about her not being some cringe lord kid, but being a devil like you're saying? The fake Chainsaw Man states that the Justice Devil is inside of him, and that the Justice Devil, in particular we, as in he and the Justice Devil, never make mistakes. But before he can go any further, the Death Devil's hand suddenly grabs the leg of the student, and she quite literally sucks the life out of him by drawing on his life force, draining his life force to the point that he falls over and her entire body has now been put back together, which given she isn't the strongest person out there, that makes sense for her to have a power-up that is this overpowered. But as we watch her, in particular her continued interactions, I would suggest keeping one thing in mind. If she can do something this overpowered right now, when she's literally as weak as she is right now currently, then what can she do when the fear of death grows stronger? That's my big question, because she only needed a few seconds and she sucked the life out of this kid like it was nothing. It's only a small glimpse, but it is enough to make you realize why Fami wanted fake Chainsaw Man and the War Devil at full power, plus Nayuta as the Control Devil to take on the Death Devil, because if she ever reaches full power, you better believe everyone's on notice. This leads to another dangerous aspect of the Death Devil being put on display. She's only interacted with the fake Chainsaw Man for a short period of time, yet she has already shown a high battle IQ and how she was able to quickly break down the fighting style and methods of the fake Chainsaw Man, down to the exact fighting style and pointing out the weaknesses of fake Chainsaw Man, being that it can only attack at close quarters combat, which leads to her boldly proclaiming that she will kill fake Chainsaw Man in only 3 seconds of time. However, she seemingly never gets the chance to do so because fake Chainsaw Man, he's now cut her head off, but interestingly enough, she's still alive and she's calling out for help while the fake Chainsaw Man is calling her weak, which is where the chapter does end off. The last bit is what I want to focus on now. Her saying that she could end Chainsaw Man in 3 seconds and how quickly she broke everything down. That reeks of someone who, if she ever gains full power, she's got the overpowered ability to drain life force in only a matter of seconds, but having the sharp mind and observation skills is going to make her a very pesky person to deal with in combat if this does end up being the case. Now, there's a couple of other big things that we have to take a look at here. The first is the fact that the Death Devil right now is basically aura farming in terms of being an aura farming merchant. She doesn't have any power to back up her claims. She's basically what power would have been if power couldn't fight. But she does have the presence on screen that makes you realize there's a lot you can work with here as a writer. So take off the reader glasses for a second and look at this from Fujimoto's perspective. It's enough to carry her for right now, because it sets you up to have readers have low expectations of her combat capability after we spent so much of part 2 of the story building up for this reveal of the Death Devil, this big bad boogie woman. It almost felt like you had to have a subversion of expectations by making her so weak, because at least this gives you a way to open up more avenues for storytelling, especially since she is here sooner than expected, and you have the chance to use her as a vehicle to interact with fake Changeman like we saw, and give us information, confirmation that the fake Changeman is working with the Justice Devil. That works even better. If she was this big overpowered being, she should have been able to one-shot the fake Changeman, no issues at all. This gives you something to start growing into. A good writer knows how to still keep the audience asking questions long after giving the audience what it is that they think they want. It's one of those things where, as a writer, you need to be aware of what your audience wants, but it's also your job to tell the story, the vision you want to tell, and convince them that the payoff that you're serving up for the story is better than what they wanted. Fujimoto does a really good job with that. That's why I keep highlighting how he subverts expectations so much. And this is seemingly the case with the Death Devil. Yet, now we're ending this chapter with even more questions than we had before. It's not enough to ask, why is the fake Chainsaw Man working with the Justice Devil? And most importantly, how did they even link up to begin with? And how much does the fake Chainsaw Man know about the Nostradamus prophecy? This is on top of us having the question of where this fake Chainsaw Man came from. He is a byproduct of what Denji believed Chainsaw Man to be. A superhero who ironically might have some fear in terms of people fearing him because of all the widespread damage that he's left behind via fights. Was he born from the Justice Devil directly like it's being implied? And if so, how is that even possible? It's enough right now that it has to have your mind racing, while also making you feel a bit bad for the guy who got used as fodder to be used as a healing pack for the Death Devil. To die that young and unexpected, it has to suck. But the trade-off is that we did get a cool display of one of what we can assume is the first of many abilities that the Death Devil possesses. Well, that's going to be it for this extremely fast-paced chapter this week. We don't have to wait long for the next chapter, which will be out in 7 days. So thankfully, we'll get more answers on who it was she was calling out to for help. But in the meantime, click here to check out more videos from my Anime Explained channel with Chainsaw Man here on the left and Sakamoto Days over here on the right.